Bridget fires back at Mandi and reveals why See the Thing is ended.
I think the combination of us not wanting to talk current events with each other, I think we were tired of working with one another. I think, our contract was also ending, which, she had meetings with our agents on the side without me. Because if I see her in person, I'm going to ignore her too. I'm going to walk right by her.
That's right. On a recent episode of Bridget's new podcast, Everything is Fine, Bridget decided to address why See the Thing is ended. For those of you that don't know, Bridget and Mandi went through a chaotic breakup. One where it appeared like Mandi was trying to seize the narrative about why the podcast fell apart. Well, it looks like Bridget is fed up and decided to fire back. And here is what she said on her Patreon episode, which I'm going to leave linked in the description. Bridget starts off by revealing that she wishes things could have ended more amicably between her and Mandi, and says that she feels people are playing in her face. Then Bridget highlights how Mandi said this whole thing about her not wanting to go to Bridget's wedding because, she didn't get a +1. And Bridget fires back by saying, hey, I never invited you to the wedding. Actually, what happened was I sent you a save the date and you started acting funny style after that. So I was never going to invite you to the wedding. And on top of that, when I invited you to the wedding, you actually were in a relationship. And she highlights that because Mandi kept saying that she never got a +1. So the idea that, she was trying to bash her for not being in a relationship and that's why she didn't get a +1 is a reach because she was in a relationship with an abusive guy. That's crazy that Bridget said she was in a relationship with an abusive guy. It's getting personal, y'all. After that, Blue, her current co-host, asked Bridget why she thinks Mandi played into the Bridget being lazy narrative after, Bridget fell in love. And Bridget says that she was in a relationship throughout her time on See the Thing Is, and that Mandi was under a lot of scrutiny online, so she may have attempted to use that narrative to get ahead of what everybody was saying. And, I wasn't invited to the wedding, so that's why we had a lot of issues. That may have been why Mandi did that. Bridget then starts getting into the core issues of why See the Thing is ended and says both of them were tired of working with each other and that the show was debilitating because of their different work styles. Bridget says that her goal was to create a working dynamic that prioritized the friendship, whereas Mandi created a working dynamic that prioritized the business, and that caused the tension between the two women. Bridget then says at certain points it became clear Mandi no longer wanted to be her friend, and Bridget also notes that the two friendships deteriorated so much they no longer even wanted to talk to each other about current events on the show. Then Bridget says Mandi was having meetings with her agents without her and reveals that she believed they were never going to get another contract similar to the one they signed with Gumball, and that the contract ending played a big part in why the show was never going to come back. After that, Bridget pivots to addressing Mandi's claims that she did 90% of the work on See the Thing Is by saying Mandi opened up a studio, Full Court Studios, which she completely controlled, and See the Thing Is was paying her for a studio she owned. Therefore, Mandi was overseeing a team that was already working for her studio. So I guess this is kind of like a conflict. So apparently, See the Thing Is, the entity was paying Full Court Studio, which is also owned by Mandi. So I guess Bridget's point is, of course, you're going to be doing more administrative work. These are two things that you're doing absent of each other. Yes, the same person is doing it, but at the end of the day, you're being paid through two separate channels. So the work you are doing for Full Court Studios is not to be conflated with the work you are doing for See the Thing Is. You decided to take control of that situation, so that's why you are doing extra work. Apparently, this led to some type of issue. As Bridget says, Mandi felt like she was doing more of the administrative work and then asked for more compensation, which they did agree to. And at some point, an adjustment needed to be made due to a contractual issue. and they could no longer honor the extra compensation. I wonder what that adjustment was. So I guess Mandi was receiving extra payment for the work she was doing on the back end, but then something happened where Bridget was like, all right, we can't do that no more. After that, Bridget says that she brought 90% of the guests and that she brought her own value to the show outside of the administrative tasks. I think this is just Bridget trying to say that she was putting work in, and that the assertion by Mandi that she did nothing was a reach. Bridget then says her value was her value and that she brought something to the show before she ever stepped on it. I guess another thing, Mandi kind of laying out the groundwork that Bridget wasn't really adding much. Bridget then highlights how Mandi went through a devastating breakup, which she coped with by working harder and taking more ownership of the workload at See the Thing Is, which she in turn wanted Bridget to do. And Bridget was simply like, nah, that's not what I'm going to do. And Mandi apparently kept changing what she expected of Bridget, and the work environment with See the Thing Is got toxic. So Bridget is basically hinting that Mandi may have been acting like a diva and making everyone feel uncomfortable at See the Thing Is. Then Blue, Bridget's co-host, steps in and says she provided support on Bridget and Mandi's tour for free, and she noticed how toxic the culture was. But Blue also says she felt disrespected by Mandi in the way that, she spoke to her. Bridget then says that for all of the complaining Mandi used to do about being overworked, she did use the control she gained by doing the work as a form of leverage over Bridget. Bridget then says she shut down and decided to just show up to the podcast as opposed to taking it too seriously in order to, I guess, collect, just run out the contract. After that, Bridget says she believes Mandi is resentful of her relationship and that it agitated the end of their podcast. Blue and Bridget then hint that Mandi may be triggered by Bridget's joy. After that, Bridget says Mandi refused to do the last episode of See the Thing Is, so that's why the end of the show was pretty awkward. And Bridget says she fell out with a close friend. This is someone outside of the podcast, and that it was a close friend that she really cared about, and that she was hurt that that friendship ended. But lo and behold, Mandi would become their best friend a little bit later on. I have no idea who this person is, but I'm assuming it's probably someone in media, as Bridget and Mandi both know them. Let me know who you think that might be in the comments. After that, Bridget says that she lost some opportunities being attached to Mandi. Oh God, it's getting ugly. Then Bridget kind of closes this whole thing by saying that the tour that See the Thing Is did was the final sign and revealed she could no longer really coexist with Mandi long term. So there you have it. Bridget popped the trunk on Mandi, and we will see how things go. I think what Bridget did was pretty much address all of the negative things that have been going on behind the scenes at See the Thing Is. And she did do a good job of fighting back Mandi's claims that she was doing all of the work by saying, hey, Mandi was probably doing a lot of the work, but she did that to gain more control over the platform and used it to justify her toxic ways. Now, I'm not saying she was toxic. This is just what Bridget said. I'm reacting to it. And I kind of see people do that sometimes in the workplace, where they'll take ownership of something and say, yo, I'm doing all the work. Well, you're doing all the work so you could throw it in my face. And I think that's what Bridget is getting at here. But Mandi would respond, and I will break that down in my next video, which is coming real soon. Alright, y'all. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who are you riding with in this breakup? Because Bridget did say at the end, hey, whoever feels they need to choose a side, pick a side. A lot of people are talking about Kendrick versus Drake, but I'm more concerned with Bridget versus Mandi. Alright, y'all. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.